Do you ever look around your house and wonder how it got so cluttered and full of stuff? How did all those piles of paper get there, and why did you put all those knickknacks on that shelf you have to dust? If you're like a lot of survivors of narcissistic abuse and narcissistic relationships, you might have a little trouble keeping your house clean. That doesn't make you a bad person, but it does make you someone who needs a little help getting things in order. So today, we're going to talk about exactly why having been abused by a narcissist might cause you to struggle to keep your house clean, and I'm going to offer you a solution for that at the end of this video. All right, so let's get started. My name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse and toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. Sound good? If so, hit that subscribe button and let's get going. Clutter disrupts your healing. It slows your flow. It makes your life harder. Physical clutter and mental clutter. It affects your ability to move and your ability to think. Clutter makes it really hard to get through everything, through life. You can't navigate through your home. You can't navigate through life in so many different ways. You might be shocked at how much of an effect the state of your home has on you and your mental health. Your home is supposed to be your sanctuary, the place where you find the most comfort in the world. Most of the time when you mention the word clutter to someone, the first thing they think of is the inside of a hoarder's house. Now, you may not be quite that bad, but you might still have a problem with cluttering.
In fact, disorganization is one of the biggest problems that is reported by people who are depressed and anxious. Emotional baggage builds up and expresses itself in turmoil. It's kind of like a tornado lets loose in your brain and in your home. Feeling overwhelmed and not wanting to face the day can be caused by not knowing where to start or wanting to face the mountain of tasks that lay ahead.
Quite honestly, clutter can just be having more stuff than you have space. But there was a 2016 study done in New Mexico that kind of looked into clutter and what it's all about. It examined how clutter affects your perception of your home and ultimately your feelings of satisfaction with life. The study's underlying premise was that because so many people identify very closely with their home environments, the extent to which it is actually cluttered could interfere with how much they love their home, how much pleasure they experience in that environment. In the study that I mentioned, clutter was negatively related to the psychological sense of home, safety, etc. Clutter, the author said, is often an insidious and seemingly harmless outgrowth of someone's natural desire to appropriate their personal spaces with possessions. When clutter becomes excessive, they say, it can threaten to physically and psychologically entrap you in a dysfunctional home environment, which then contributes to your personal distress and feelings of displacement and alienation. So someone who's been through narcissistic abuse will deal with dissociation. Having a cluttered, messy home ties right into that. In addition to all that, here are 5 reasons that you should start changing your life today, making over your home today. Number 1, a messy house causes your well-being, your whole sense of well-being to just be a little bit lower. Living in clutter sort of impedes your ability to identify with your home, which again should be your sanctuary from the outside world. And you should feel pride in your home. As we saw from the University of New Mexico study, having too many things in a small place or too small of a place leads you to the feeling that your home environment is your enemy and not your friend. No good. Number 2, you eat less healthy when your home is a mess. It's true. An Australian study confirmed this, showing that people will actually eat more cookies and snacks if the environment where they're offered a choice of foods is chaotic. They're more likely to feel more stressed out in those environments, which also leads to poor eating habits. You feel more in control when your environment is in control, is the bottom line. Number 3, your mental health suffers. As we've already discussed, mental health is a problem when it comes to messy houses, but there was a study done at the University of South Carolina in 2017 that noted that a comfortable environment, a clean, tidy, comfortable environment is essential to keeping your head straight, to what they called mental hygiene. Recent research, of course, has veered more toward mental than physical comfort, but feeling stressed by any sort of clutter, mental or physical, is going to be bad for what they call your mental hygiene, or your ability to keep your mind in sharp working order. No good. Number 4, you don't process visually as well. So in a 2016 study at Cornell University, they found that when you were talking about something on the television, if there was a cluttered background, people couldn't as effectively process the looks on people's faces. So you might actually not be able to read expressions as well in a cluttered environment. Interesting, right? It's harder to figure out how people are actually feeling. Number 5, you don't think as clearly. It's less efficient. Mental clutter, i.e. the state of mind that doesn't help you to ignore stuff that doesn't matter. In fact, you could be losing your memory faster this way. According to a study done at the University of Toronto in 2016, mental clutter is one of the prime possible suspects for losing your memory as you get older. The theory goes that if you're unable to get through the material or the junk that's clogging you up mentally, you will be slower and less efficient in processing information. So you'll be incapacitated when it comes to short-term memory stuff. And even in longer range memory stuff, when you have to come up with information you would need to know, such as names of people, phone numbers, social security numbers, etc., that you no longer have memorized. So when you declutter, it has a lot of advantages, not just as a housekeeping tool, but also for your own mental health. So I did a poll in the SPAN group and on a couple of my pages over the weekend, and I said to people, hey, are you interested in being part of a 30-day declutter challenge? And so many people raised their hand and said, I'm into it, that I'm starting it today. Let me explain to you why I'm doing it and what it's all about and how it's going to start. Here we go. Now, you might be one of those people who doesn't struggle with this, but if you're like me and a lot of other people, you might have found yourself really struggling to stay organized, to get the housework done and do all the things that you want to do in your life. And you might be surprised to find out that it could be a result of having been abused by a narcissist. Sometimes a dirty house just isn't a dirty house. Sometimes a disorganized house is more than a disorganized house, right? Sometimes having a dirty or cluttered home is a result of having been abused. It's a symptom of a bigger thing. Depression, CPTSD, lots of things involved with this. Cleaning and organization takes time. Now, you might be in a situational mess right now, right? So maybe there's a situation in your life, you're too busy with work, you don't have time to mess around with stuff, and your home is temporarily disorganized, in which case you'll want to stay to the end of this video as well. But if you've been abused by a narcissist and you've become chronically disorganized, potentially as a result of that, this video will help you to get started on the next step of fixing the issues in your life. So let me ask you a question. Let's talk about your home organization. Do you struggle with it? Do you stay on top of your chores no problem, or do you find yourself kind of all over the place with stuff? If you're looking at your house and you're taking inventory, would you say that your home represents your soul? A lot of people say that the home represents, what's without is within. If you look at your house and it's messy, then that means you've got some internal work to do. Do you think that your home identifies a physical challenge, or does it identify emotional challenges you're dealing with? What lifestyle changes could you use to make it better? Do you think that your expectations are realistic? If your house is messy or disorganized, or you're even leaning toward the hoarder side of things, there are good reasons for it. The best news I have for you today is that there is a way out, and I'm going to help you do that. The first thing you have to do is recognize that there's a mess. Admit it. If you're in the situation where you've been through this type of abuse, you might need to take a look around and admit to yourself that the house is a little bit messy. And that's okay. You probably have spent a lot of time not realizing that you're living with PTSD, and you might have created an accidental mess around yourself as part of the process. So number 1, discover you have a problem. Discover the mess, okay? Number 2, you're going to have to decide how you're going to handle it, okay? So first of all, we discovered that we had a mess. Next thing, we're going to decide that, okay, we know what we're doing and we know how we're going to start to resolve it. So the clutter affects your mind, your body, and your house, right? You've got mental clutter left over from the narcissist. You may have body clutter left over, and we'll talk about that as we go forward. One of the biggest things about healing is to get your house in order in the way that you want it to be. It is a symptom of having been abused by a narcissist. It is a symptom of emotional abuse, physical abuse, and all kinds of other abuse. As the mess happens, you feel overwhelmed by it. Like, if my dishes aren't done and I walk into the kitchen, I turn right around and walk out if it's too much. I can't handle a big, huge mess in my house. I sometimes will hire somebody to help me clean up in the house. I have somebody that comes every now and then, but ultimately it's not really about the big cleaning here for me. It's really about the little day-to-day stuff. But then if you look around and you see the clutter, you realize it's a lot harder to clean a cluttered house. That's why I'm about to announce the 30-day Makeover Your Home Declutter Challenge. Starting tomorrow on this channel, I will run a 30-day declutter challenge We're going to make over our homes in 30 days. So we're going to start tomorrow with day 1. Go over to Life Makeover Academy, link below, and sign up for the 30-day challenge so that you'll also get all the free printables and downloads that are available with it. It's a free challenge this time, so get in there while you can. And now it's time for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, do you struggle with keeping your home organized? And if you do, are you into this whole 30-day decluttering challenge? Would you join me in this? Let me know in the comments below and hit that like button if you're into it. All right, that's all I've got for you right now. Thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. And hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you soon.
It's my mission to teach others what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want. Take care of your body, take care of your soul, nurture the real you, and introduce him or her to the world. Be comfortable in your own skin and in your place in this world. Take your spot, take it now, and the universe will take its cue from you. You feel me? If so, subscribe to my channel. Let's get it done together.